We got 9 other seats to talk about. Senator Rick Scott joins me as chairman of the National Republican Senatorial Committee. Good morning, Senator Scott. How are you?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting today. A lot of money's been spent the last 2 weeks in New Hampshire. But here's what I know. Maggie hasn't. Her problem, people know her in New Hampshire, and they don't like her. She spent, I think, personally, her campaign, $9 million, and her favorables is still in the low 40s, and Biden's numbers are bad. So, yeah, whoever gets out of that primary, I think we have a great shot. I think we're going to win. I think we're going to win New Hampshire, actually.
Now, let's run down the map. I want to start with the seats like New Hampshire held by a Democrat, and we'll come back to that next time you're on, talk about New Hampshire and who the nominee is. Georgia, Herschel has surged ahead of Raphael Warnock in a couple of polls.
Great race. Here's what's happened. Two things have happened. One, Herschel's taken the offense. He's got a great communications person. He's taken the offense. He's leading generally the polls now by 3 points. We've defined Warnock. We started early and we defined him. Remember, he got through the general election in November 2020 with 2-1 fave-unfave. That's not where he is now. He's basically 44-44 on fave-unfave. We're going to win in Georgia. Herschel's running a great race.
He is. He's just a likable guy. And as a caller said to me, we've known Herschel for 40 years in Georgia, and we like him. And that matters.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
I want to compliment you on candidate recruitment, Senator Scott, because Joe O'Dea is America's candidate. I'd have him on every day if I was later in the day there. He's a great candidate. What do you feel about Colorado?
I think we got a great shot. The last poll I saw has him down 1. And here's why we're going to win in Colorado. One, Bennett is not well thought of. His numbers, he's like about 44% approval. So that's not good. Number 2 is Biden's numbers are under 40. Biden's numbers are under 40 in what, people always think, Colorado's all blue. Well, they don't like Biden, and they're not enamored with Bennett. O'Dea's running a great race. So he's got a great background. His wife has done some great ads in Spanish to help him. I think he's going to win like I do the Hispanic vote. I think it's going to be the game changer. The Hispanic vote is going to be the reason we win in Colorado.
And in Arizona as well. Let me play for you Senator Mark Kelly, asked by a local Arizona TV anchor yesterday, because he won't do any national media, about grading Joe Biden. How is he doing? Here is that exchange, cut number 10.
Your thoughts on his job? Has he done a good job, do you think?
Hey, first of all, it's not my job to give him a report card.
Okay, it is his job to give him a report card. What did you think of that, Senator Scott?
Well, no, they don't want to be close to Joe Biden. He's toxic. I think his approval rating in Arizona is something like 34%. So he doesn't want to be close. But by the way, Kelly is a liar. The guy sits there and acts like he's an independent when he goes to Arizona. When he comes up here, Chuck Schumer says jump, and he says how high. He votes 100% of the time with Chuck Schumer is voting against border security 3 times. He's done nothing to stop this fentanyl problem, done nothing to stop this inflation. Mark Kelly is a complete liar. In contrast, Blake Master is a great individual. He's a business guy. He's working his butt off. You saw Heritage Action raised $5 million. They're in that race now to help make sure we continue to define Kelly. So what we did with Kelly, we did the exact same thing. We started defining him last year. His approval ratings are under 50%. So I think Blake Master is going to win.
I do too. Now I think the mortal lock though is Nevada. Adam Laxalt has been my friend for a decade. He should have been the governor. He was a great attorney general. I think he's going to be the next senator. And here you have another candidate who knows his state intimately well. And not Ocasio, Mastro Cortez Cortez Masto is simply the invisible senator along with Bennett. They are the twin invisible senators. And Mastro Cortez, Cortez Masto. It's just not a good candidate.
Yeah, well, she's not a hard worker. No one knows what she's done. Biden's numbers are in the 30s. Her numbers are way under 50. And by the way, Adam Laxalt is a hard worker. He knows the state. He was a successful attorney general. He's going to do really well with the Hispanic vote, which I think is something like 23 or 24% of the vote.
Yes.
Hispanics are fed up with Democrats. They're fed up with Joe Biden. They don't like Joe Biden. They're fed up with him. They don't like what the Democrats have done with the public school system. So I think Adam Laxalt's going to. Look, we've got so many opportunities because what we did, we defined the Democrats early, and we got great candidates.
Yeah. Now I want to go to the long shot. Tiffany Smiley, Washington State votes by mail. She's fantastic. She's a military spouse. She's got a heroic story. She's inspiring. But they vote by mail. I just don't know how to poll Washington State, Senator. What do you think
I
about
know.
Tiffany Smiley?
Man, she's got a story, doesn't she?
Yes.
I mean, brought her husband back to health, blinded. She was a young nurse. Her husband was blinded in Iraq, serving in the Army, brought him back to health. He served 20 years. I think the first, maybe the only blind officer, served 20 years in the Army. 3 kids. She's got a great story. And by, Patty Murray is not well liked. Her favorables are way under 50. We've spent a lot of, we've all spent a lot of money making sure people know who she is. Patty Murray's not well liked. So it's a hard state, but I'll tell you what, if the person that can win is Tiffany Smiley. So what I tell everybody, we've got to help all of our candidates. You can help us. You can text WIN to 55404 at the NRSC, but help our candidates. They all need more resources. The Democrats have outraised us, but I'm very optimistic about this fall.
So you can text WIN to 55404. Did I get that right, Senator?
Yep, WIN 55404. And we'll get you the information. If you have any way to get it, if you want any information on how to get it to a candidate, we'll get you that information. I'm excited. Great candidates. Biden's numbers are horrible. Democrats keep voting with Biden. Let
me run down the Republican races. Eric Schmidt's going to win in Missouri. We avoided a nightmare. He's going to win.
Right.
Let's pause on that. Now, the rule of the Hugh Hewitt Show is Tim Ryan is a personal friend, so I don't attack Tim, but I can talk up JD all I want. And JD is going to win. Ohio's a red state. JD embodies Ohio. Former President Trump's going to be with him in Mahoning Valley.
About the guy.
Yeah, I know. He's going to be a fun senator. He's very fun. And he's a Marine. So he's going to win. Talk to me about Ron Johnson. I feel much better. Ron has been on the show 2 weeks in a row. What do you think?
Ron's slightly ahead in the polls. He's had tough races in 10 and 16. He pulls it out because he's the hardest working guy in Wisconsin. Barnes is a radical leftist, and so we're defining Barnes. We've been helping Ron since we started spending money in the spring, and Ron is running a great race, raising his money. He's going to win.
Now let's conclude on Pennsylvania. Let's talk about Dr. Oz and Fetterman, because Carl Rove on the show last week said that Mandela
great.
Barnes.
Wonderful family. First off, Oz is great. He listens to you. He's working hard. I talk to him every few days. He's going somewhere, just left somewhere. He's talking to everybody he can. He told me a couple days ago, Senator John Kennedy came up to him. They had 1,200 people at a rally. That's a big deal. We're defining Fetterman. We've cut Fetterman's lead in half. So as long as we define Fetterman, Oz is going to win. He's a hard worker.
On that point, last week Carl Rove and I disagreed because I think Fetterman is the most radical candidate running, and Carl thought that Mandela Barnes in Wisconsin is more radical. You get to break the tie.
They're both horrible.
But who's even loonier than the other one? Because these guys are from central casting left wing.
Hey, Hugh, you know what I think about Fetterman? It's exactly, if you've made any money, you don't want your kids to turn out like that.
Oh,
that's
he's
a
so
rich
true.
kid that's never done anything.
And the whole hoodie thing, and the tats on the arms, and look, I feel bad for the guy. He's had a stroke. Yeah,
he wants to release a third of people out of prison and legalize all drugs. And we look at the crime wave we already have, and he wants to make it worse.
So at the bottom of the hour, we're going to get the inflation numbers, and I think we're going to have double-digit food prices increase. Does gas coming down offset the fact that groceries are going up, Rick Scott?
No. Think about it. It's a cumulative problem. So I think in Florida, as an example, even without this month's numbers, since Biden got elected, it's 14% inflation. And food prices are not coming down. We've got potential of a rail strike because the Biden administration can't figure out how to work with unions. They're the most pro-union people, but they can't figure out how to work with them. And the unions are sitting there saying, "Hey, look at what you've done to my inflation. I got to give a raise." That's what everybody's saying. Biden's killing the poorest families in this country with his inflation and his border crisis, crime wave, all this stuff. It's crazy.
It's inflation, it's crime, it's the border. Those are the big three. Senator Rick Scott, keep coming back. I appreciate the work you've done for the NRC throughout the year. It's text the number, text 55404. That's the number. But use the word WIN, WIN, to 55404. 55404, the word WIN, and you can help the NRSC. Rick Scott, thank you for joining me, Senator. Always a pleasure.